Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jimmy James. You're watching Commodity Confidential. We have got another trade on. As you can see, it's just gone 4:30 in the UK. It is the 4th of February 2026. This year is flying by already. Okay, let's get straight into it. We're back in the market shorting silver once again. What I've done, I put the trades on, started putting the trades on early this morning. So I took a screenshot of it, and you can see down here any second now. Hopefully you can see that. So as the day has progressed, that is what I have. Would help if I put my spectacles on. So as you can see, I put my first trade on at just gone 6:30 this morning. And as the day has gone on, I've kind of built the position up. So the first trade went on. First trade went on at $88, which, if you remember, going back a couple of days, that's where I was hoping to get into the market shorting on Monday. Didn't quite get there, so I got in yesterday just short of 88. Actually, I think it was 87, 50, 55, something like that. And we made a nice little profit yesterday. But I did see today that the market was going up. Gold's had a good day, although it's pulled back now. But I have, and it goes into an email that I received, and I got an email saying, why are you using the basic charts and not the pro charts? The answer to that is I do have pro charts. It's just for YouTube, it's much easier. It's easier to see the basic IG. So over here, I have my professional charts, which update, they bounce all over the place. It's too much to put on this screen. And for the purposes of these videos, we don't need them anyway. So that is why we have the basic charts. If you do want the professional charts, by the way, you can get them off IG. It's they're just the pro charts. I think all you need to do is put 4 trades on over one calendar month, and it's free to use. So it has much more. It's much more adaptable. It has much more. Excuse me, what's the word I'm looking for? You can do much more with the charts and with the markets. But on here, this basic chart is perfect for YouTube. It does everything that we need it to do. So, notice this morning on my pro charts though, that silver was going up and to the right. Beautiful upward channel. But it started becoming a wedge. And when you looked at the bigger picture, it's in a downtrend. So an upward wedge looks good, but if you look at the bigger picture, if it's in a downtrend and on smaller volumes, which today has been, it is a bearish indicator. So I mean, the majority of retail, I'm assuming, will look at that and think silver's going back up. It's going to gain the ground that it lost last Friday. I don't think so. I don't think so. The sellers are waiting to come in, and that's why volumes have dropped, and they will allow it to rise, but it is within that downward channel. So if you can look at a chart and look beyond what you initially see, it might give you a better chance of making profits. So just zoom out a little bit and have a look at the bigger picture. Now, don't get me wrong, today could have gone in that upward wedge, hit the downward channel and punched through it. And if it had have done that, I think it would have needed to get to around $94 on my chart. If it had a punch through there, we could have been off to the races again. So, you know, you've got to be careful. And it's not every time that upward wedge in a downward channel, it's not every time that the sellers come in and break it down. Sometimes they will see that there's a lot of shorts waiting, so they'll punch through it and take the liquidity then at a later time. they'll drive the market down, or they'll keep it going, whichever they want to do. So it's just something to be aware of. But if you can zoom out on your charts a little bit, you might see the bigger picture, and it is a big help. Currently, I mean, at one point today, I think it was 2,500 pound down. It was, my stops were in at around $100, just in case there was any odd movement or any quick whipping about of the market. So maximum liability on that would have been around, I think it's 12,000, something like that. Maybe a little bit less. My dollar cost average, if you look below, you can see where I've got into the market as the day has progressed with the timestamps. And around 88 I was getting in. By the time I dollar cost averaged in over the day, my average entry price was just over $90 per ounce, $90.10 per ounce, and that was with 11.5 units. Still not a big position, as you know, not a big position in the respect of, now I would be looking at building on that 11.5 units and get it up to around 25, 30, 40 units. However, once again, we are coming to the bottom of the Bollinger, and I still think at some point we are going into the 70s. But it's going to be a tricky month, February. Like I spoke about yesterday, China is going on their lunar holiday, so the Shanghai market is going to be closed. No trading, no futures, nothing like that. There will be no trading, and that's why I'm expecting February to be a flat to a down month. And this is where I think at some point we may even go into the 60s. So with this trade, I'm reluctant to close it out at the moment. It's on the day now, we are up just over £4,000. So I'm a little bit reluctant to close it out. As I've explained in previous videos, I can leave it running overnight. There's no carry costs. And on 11.5 units anyway, the carry costs wouldn't be prohibitive anyway. But it's just because we're trading the futures contract. We're still in the May 26 contract. There's no overnight funding charge. That's built into the curve with the futures price. We are still in contango with the futures market for May. However, the March contract is still in backwardation. The spread between May and spot has come in. It's around at the moment, what, 34, 44. So where it's normally 60 or 70, we've been as low as sort of 45 today. So it does look like that at some point the May contract could go into backwardation, which is not the normal run of things. Normally, if you pay spot, you pay less than what you would do for a futures contract, unless there is a problem with the plumbing, a problem with the market, in which case traders, buyers, they will pay the premium to have their metal now. So as things stand, like I said, the May contract is still in contango though, so we're not actually showing a problem. Can't say that about the March contract, which doesn't have that many days left before trading will finish on the March contract. The March contract actually finishes trading in February. So this trade that we've got on now, gold punched through VWAP earlier today after a good run up this morning. On spot gold, I'll just move this now. We can go back through this chart. If you've had a look at that, if you want to pause it and have a look at this, you can see as the day's gone on with the timestamps where I've increased my position as the price has been going up and against me. And this is one in the description I put, if you put a trade on, you don't always want it to go in your favour. I put the trade on today at 88, and I didn't really want it to start coming down. If it did, fine, we'll try and build the position, but you want the market, or I wanted it, off looking at that wedge that's going up, but in that down channel. I wanted silver to start going up so we could do what we did down here and increase the short position. So yes, it looks like you are losing cash, which you are on the trade, But overall, you are going to make more profits once it comes back to where you want it to go, which is downwards if you're shorting. So it sounds counterintuitive, but if you can build a position, you actually want to be losing money on the trade initially, because it allows you to build a bigger position at a higher price, which is what you want if you're shorting. I hope that makes sense. But that is why I do put in the description, sometimes you actually want to lose money on a trade. Hope that explanation makes sense. Right. Gold. It got as high as, just looking at the spot chart today, around $5,090. A nice move there. However, this afternoon, actually, it wasn't just this afternoon. It was... Oops. Don't want to do that. It was pretty much once Europe opened. Why is that not moving up? There we go. Let's have a look at the time that... Yeah, 9 o'clock. So we had, in the UK, we had an hour's worth of trading, and that's where gold topped out. Just pretty much $5,090. Then there's been selling all day on gold, which has brought it back through VWAP, which is currently at, which is a volume weighted average price at $5,021. So we broke through VWAP realistically at 2 o'clock when the USA came online. And we are now dropping back to the bottom of the Bollinger Band, which also coincides with the 20-day moving average on the hourly chart. Silver broke through at 3 o'clock on the spot price. The same on the futures contract. But unlike gold, both spot silver and the May futures contract, we've not quite touched the bottom of the Bollinger Band yet. So it's kind of stopping around 85.62, which is just short of a dollar lower than where we are now. If we were to hit the 20, actually that's the 50-day moving average. It crossed over yesterday with the 20 and the 50-day. If it goes to the bottom of the Bollinger, which it hasn't been quite able to do, but that would be at 84.46 on the futures. Excuse me. So that's another couple of dollars lower than where we are now, which is another, what, 2.5, 2,200, another 2,400, which would give us just short of £7,000 profit on the day. That's if it does get down there. However, I've got a feeling that if we hit the bottom of the Bollinger Band today, I think we will push through it and maybe then come back to it, but there will be a reversal in the Bollinger Band. So at the moment where it's ascending, it will start a reversal again coming towards the weekend, and I think we could see some more selling pressure on Friday. So like I said, I'm a little bit reluctant to close it out at the minute. It's just gone over 5,000 profit now, which hopefully you can see. I'll just highlight it again there so you can see it. And I'll get rid of that below me so you can see the markets. There you go. So you can see more about what I'm talking about. If you look at my cursor, it's not actually showing up at the minute for some reason, but you can see the cross moving. So there where it's moving, you can see just below it, the orange line there, that's the bottom of the Bollinger Band on the hourly chart. Something else as well, I don't know if I mentioned it yesterday, but there was all this big hoo-ha. Oh, just the other one thing I want to mention quickly why it's there. Also yesterday, you might remember, I've got a green trend line there where spot is just lying on top of. It may bounce off that, but I think we might come through that now, and spot silver will go down another $1.40, something like that. So assuming that assuming that the May contract will come down with it another $1.40, that gives us another £1,500, something like that on the trade. So currently that trades at £5,500 profit, takes us up to 7,000 on the day, which is okay. We'll take that. Also helping the short that we've got on. If you look over here, the pound is on the slide. It was in an up channel itself. However, it got a little bit over its skis at 137.16. It started coming down, which sent the dollar up, as you can see. The dollar index is currently at 97.44. So that's not helping. You can see now we're getting quite a move down. There's quite a bit of, you can't see it on this chart, but on my pro chart I can see there's quite a bit of selling pressure coming in. So I'm expecting this price to drop down maybe pretty quickly. It could even go into the late 70s unless the buyers start coming in to buy this dip now on the day. But the other thing I want to explain to you as well, if you look over where my cursor is, it's appeared again now. So this was yesterday, and this is how they trick retail into looking at charts. So yesterday at 4 o'clock, we had that down movement. Then at 5 o'clock, we had that down movement, and that's where we got out. I got out a little bit early yesterday. We could have had another 1,000, 2,000. But ultimately, we took a good profit for the day. I think, what did we do? 2,500, something like that. But then the market, from that point onwards, started moving up in this upwards channel. That upward wedge, sorry, even though it's still in the downwards channel. But that wedge did move up from 5 till 6. At the end of 5 till 6, that's when it started to move up. If you look at today, from 2 o'clock, we've got almost a repeat of, we had the downward candle, a second downward candle, two big down candles yesterday. So looking at that, you will be thinking, 2 candles down, we're ready to move up again, and that move will continue. So the buy orders will be there. But this is where they take advantage of it. They can see the orders, and they will just punch through it now. So they've broke that 2 candle, if that makes sense. So just something else to be aware of, that yeah, the market, sometimes they do repeat, sometimes they rhyme, sometimes it's set up, and it looks like today is that setup. So spot has now broken down through my trend line to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. It's now retreated back to that trend line. So it's going to be an interesting move at 5 o'clock. Is it going to bounce back up again and start an upward journey? Or is it going to continue downwards? And we could be going down to my 7-year moving average, which is at 79.42. Possibly. But we'll see. I think we could end up are we going to end up the week down in the 70s? It wouldn't surprise me. Won't surprise me at all. It would be on the May futures contract, that would take us down to almost bang on $80, which from here would give us another £5,000-6,000 on top of what we've got. So we could be on for another £11,000-12,000 profit today if it starts that movement down quickly. If it doesn't, I may close it out around 4,000 or 5,000 and suck it up, see if there's another movement comes later on. What I don't want to do now is start that up channel again and start bleeding profit. Sometimes if you have to, you have to. But it may be they'll try and scare the shorts out of the market by looking like it's going to reverse and move back up. You jump out of the market taking profits, then it drives back down again. And you've missed out on a move of another 5, 6, 7,000. Dollar index is just getting a little bit lower now. It's at 97.40. The yen against the dollar, the dollar against the yen is at 156.59. I still don't think we're going to get any intervention from the Bank of Japan until after the election. So the yen we could see some more weakness in the yen, which is not good for commodity prices because the dollar basket will go up. which makes the metals and other commodities more expensive, as I've explained. The pound against the dollar, I think we've got interest rates coming out tomorrow, so that might move the pound. However, it's the worst kept secret that they're going to leave rates unchanged. I would be very, very, very surprised if they do anything other than remain the same. There was some news came out today, mining news. I can't even remember what it was. Was it ADP jobs report or something? And there might have been some Fed commentary that came out. 10-year market didn't like it, and it sold off a couple of points on the news, which just shows the bond markets, they are jittery. They are very, very jittery. You can see a sell-off in the bond market. I don't think it's going to be as bad as everybody seems to think, though, because I'm pretty sure that the Fed would step in and become the buyer of last resort for treasuries. Especially with President Trump wanting a weaker dollar, so he says. But he wants a weaker dollar and he wants lower interest rates. The two go hand in hand. Usually, obviously, as bond prices go up, the coupon attached to it, that means interest rates are coming down. As interest rates go down, it's less appealing to people, so the need for dollars becomes less. So the dollar comes down with it. So you get falling interest rates and a falling dollar, which is perfect for exports, makes imports a little bit more expensive, but when you've got the reserve currency, does it really matter? I've spoke about that before. It can be a poison chalice. So I also did hear online today, and it was a headline that I saw on one of the AI videos, and I flicked on it while I was in the shower. And they were saying that sometime in February, pretty sure it said February, China is going to make a bid for the world reserves currency. And how they're going to do it is they are going to parade all of their gold that they have, which is far more than the people around the globe who are in power think they have. Allegedly, they would have more than the IMF, that's the International Monetary Fund. They would have more than America, and I think they'd have more than everybody put together, according to the video. So if that's true, look out, because that will move the markets in a massive way. That's just so much upheaval that I just can't see it happening. It's almost like predicting Armageddon and then making it happen. It would blow the markets wide open. So if it's true, buckle up for that, because that is going to be a wild ride. An absolute wild ride indeed. How the person, the AI, I think they said, oh, it's not been verified, but that's the get out of jail, isn't it? But if that did happen by China, then yeah, Katie bar the door. Turn your laptops off and don't try and trade that. Well, it'd be fun to trade, because it would just be absolute carnage. You would see countries going bankrupt within the day, because currencies would just absolutely collapse. I've just seen before I came out as well on CNBC, President Trump, I think is, oh no, not President Trump, correction, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, has come out and said Iran does not have enough dollars. So I didn't hear the full story. So whether they're going to try and do a deal with Iran instead of going to war with Iran, I'm not too sure. But we do know that how many billions did Barack Obama fly over to Iran some years ago when he was in power? Was it something like, I don't know, 40 billion? I can't remember. But I know he did fly over pallet loads of cash. You know, that's not conspiracy theory, that's fact. So they are short of dollars once again. How they are short of dollars, I'm not too sure. Whether it's something to do with sanctions, sell the oil in dollars, they should have plenty. So whether sanctions are biting, I'm not sure. And I don't want to speculate on that because I don't know the whole story. But it's worth having a look online. And it could well be dollars are going to be sent to Iran instead of weapons used against them, that is, which hopefully nobody wants war apart from the military industrial complex. They make plenty of money out of it. Peace doesn't pay, as the saying goes. I've also got to apologise as well. I've realised every video I've done this week, I've not had a shirt and tie on once. So apologies. It's just I've been juggling many jobs this week. I've had many hats on, as they say, and wearing a shirt and tie for most of them wouldn't be. It wouldn't be right, because it would end up looking a little bit scruffy by the time I got here. I've been so busy. I'm doing my jobs, what I've got to do, and trading as well. I did remember to brush my hair though. So that's one good thing. I look like the wild man from Borneo. Just looking at this trade we've got on, it's just hovering around the 5,000 profit mark and jumping around a little bit. We've got 2 minutes until the end of the 4 till 5 hour. So we'll see what kind of movement we get at the turn of the hour. And hopefully, for me, this downward movement will continue. Could we push all the way to $80? We could well do, you know. We could go from where we are now, which is at 85.43 roughly. 85, yeah, a little bit higher. But we could come down to this 7-year moving average on the hourly chart, which is at buying just over $80. So it would be, depends what options are, daily options are on the cards. I can't see on my other chart where the max pain is. Should have checked that before I came on, actually, because it does give you a good indication of where the price might be going at any given time. Gold is hovering around $4,900 per ounce. It's holding steady there as it's come to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. The pound against the dollar, that has punched through the bottom quite a way, actually. It's punched through the bottom of the Bollinger Band. It's at 136.59 currently. Dollar index is coming back to the Bollinger Band at the top of it now. It's at 97.35. So we'll see if it continues with that upward movement. We've just changed over now at 5 o'clock. So we'll see. We'll have a look down here and see what spot does, because it's still bouncing on my trend line that goes back to year dot. So we'll see if it punches back through it and heads towards the bottom of the Bollinger, which is at 83.74. At the moment, sellers are coming in just to start off, but normally you need to give it 5 minutes. Have a look at 5 minutes first before you make any commitments. Often you'll get sellers come in, the buyers will wait 5 minutes and then they'll come in, or vice versa. The buyers might come in and the sellers will wait, then they'll come in after 5 minutes. Sometimes it's 10 minutes, but a knee-jerk reaction as the hour changes over often will lead you to make the false assumption about which way the market is going to go. So just give it that few minutes. Just looking at First Majestic today as well. Latest price is 21.45. Well, that's pretty stable. Let's have a look at its chart. It did have a little bit of a pullback from 1 o'clock, from 23 down to 21, but then that coincides with, often First Majestic will trade in lockstep with the silver price, as you would expect. First Majestic Silver Corporation. There's kind of a clue in the name, isn't there? But still rising nicely. It should be way higher than that. They just need to get, I think they've got Jared Canyon on Kerr and can't remember the last bit of the sentence of that. What do they call it? Kerr and something or other. I'm not sure if it's actually producing. You would think it will be soon though, if it's not already actually, with the silver price being where it is. Keith Newmeyer, he knows exactly what he's doing. So yeah, as you can see now, there's a little bit of a battle going on between who's going to start the movement. Is it going up? Is it going down? Initially, we started with sellers coming in. Buyers are coming in now, but we're only 2 minutes into the move, so we'll get that push and pull. Maybe we'll chop sideways, but coming into 5 till 6, there'll be some positioning happening as we come into the daily options expiry. That'll be around 6:25. As I said yesterday, compliance from 7 till 8. Like I said, I don't think you get a tap on the shoulder like you used to. I think it's done automatically now by the algorithms. But so the compliance officers won't be tapping you on the back saying adjust your position. You've gone over your skis either long or short. Sellers have just took a little bit of a back seat for the moment. What are we, 6 minutes in now? Trade's gone to 4,600 profit, so it's dropped down a little bit as you would expect. Are we going to see over... Are we going to see over here a move upwards to continue that? If you look, it's like a wave pattern. Are we going to see? It's too obvious. It's too obvious for me. I'm sorry, I'm not buying that one. I think we're going to punch through my trend line there, and we're going to, on spot, we're going to 83.81. If it does continue upwards, then we'll close out and it'll cost us £1,000 out of our profit. But I'd sooner risk that £1,000 and possibly make an extra £6,000 or £7,000 on this trade. So we're going to finish the day up anyway. It's just how much, whether we're 3,500 or around 10,000. Big difference, but it's still going to be a good day. Just got to check my phone. Somebody's trying to get hold of me. Always at the most inopportune time. Getting a Amazon delivery is always a good one. Especially when you're waiting to place a trade or you're waiting to cash out and you get an Amazon driver knocking at your door. Right. That's okay. Eldest daughter, I can deal with that one later. Don't forget the football's on tonight as well. I'm not live streaming that though on Catch You Live First because it's Newcastle and Manchester City, isn't it? Second leg of the Caribou Cup. Arsenal going through last night, beating Chelsea. If you had skin in the game, it would have been quite exciting. As a neutral, pretty poor. Pretty poor. More interested in trying to kick each other, I think, and con the referee instead of playing football, which is what they're there for. I did see as well, I also wrote down to do a video, to put in this video, about why a rising wedge into a down channel, it looks positive, it looks bullish, but it's actually bearish. So I asked ChatGPT to explain it better because it will explain it better than I can. So this is what ChatGPT says. A rising wedge inside a downward channel is generally considered a high probability short setup, but only if it's traded correctly and confirmed. Here's how to think about it clearly. What this structure is telling you: when you see a rising wedge forming within a broader downtrend channel, it usually means price is rallying, but each push-up is weaker than the last. Momentum is compressing. Buyers are struggling against the dominant trend. In other words, it's a corrective move, not a trend reversal. That's why this is often called a bearish continuation pattern. Why it's a good short conceptually. This setup aligns multiple bearish factors. High time frame trend equals down. Rising wedge is a bearish structure. Price moving counter trend on weakening momentum. Often forms on declining volume. Institutions love these because they can sell into strength, not chase breakdowns. The correct way to short is important. The biggest mistake traders make is shorting too early. High probability of entry problems. Get your mind out the gutter. The best, short on a clean break and a close below the wedge support. Even better, breakdown, bearish retest of the wedge, rejection, and then short. Stop placement just above the wedge high or above the last lower high inside the wedge. It goes on and on and on. So that's what ChatGPT says about it. I would have made a butchers of it. It explains it far better than I could. I also put into it my expectations of where silver is going and ultimately into the 60s at some point, just to see. I also put in my parameters to ChatGPT explaining why I think it's going to go there. Then it'll come back and it'll either argue against me or agree with me. And it pretty much agrees with me that we are going into the 60s. So I asked ChatGPT, let me find it. It's worth. I did ask it. I need to find it. Let me just pause this video so I can find it for you. Because once again, it explains it far better than I can. So the parameters that I put in, I've just seen some buying pressure coming in there as well. But whether it'll last, I'm not too sure. I'm not convinced. I think we're going lower still. So I put my thinking in silver going shorter. So I put in backwardation for March, bearish for, well, a positive for silver. However, May contract is in contango. February is normally a quiet month for silver. It either chops sideways or it will be lower on the month. Also, you've got the Chinese going on the Lunar New Year, Shanghai being closed, so on and so on. So I put those into ChatGPT. This is what it said. Your reasoning, because I also put in, I think it could be going into the 60s. I think I put $68 is where I'm expecting it to maybe head. It says your reasoning is coherent and internally consistent. This isn't guesswork, it's market structure plus seasonality and flow. Let me sanity check it piece by piece and then tie it back to closing around 78. March backwardation versus May contango. This matters. What you're seeing is actually classic stress behavior in silver. March backwardation equals tight near-term physical availability. May contango, market expects lower prices before higher ones later, which is, I think silver's going much higher. I've said it in previous videos. $150 for me will be a launch pad. But at the minute, I do think we go lower before we get there. May contango, markets expect lower prices before higher ones later. That combination usually means we need metal now, but we're not paying up for it later. That is not a sustained bull signal yet. It's a timing signal. It fits perfectly with short-term downside, still unfinished. Long-term bullish thesis intact, so your higher but not yet view is aligned with the curve. Chinese holiday effect, often underestimated. China stepping away tends to reduce real demand and bids. Leaves price more exposed to paper flows. Increased volatility and downside air pockets in silver, more than gold, feels this absence. This creates the exact movement where shorts compress stops to get runs on price and overshoots fair value. So this supports your near-term bearish window. Seasonality. February is rarely kind to silver. Historically, February is choppy to weak. Stronger performance tends to come in March. April onward, seasonality is never a trade by itself, but when it aligns with curve structure, post-liquidation flows, weak participation, it adds weight, not noise. So like I said, April is when, maybe March, but I'm looking to April. Also, it's the start of the second quarter. That's when I'm expecting silver to make a real move up. I think February could be difficult. March could be a little bit steady, and then we start moving up again April onwards. Selling is not done yet. This is likely after a large impulsive drop, which we had on Friday. Silver always bounces, short covering and dip buyers. And that's what we're kind of seeing now, but I can't trust this. I do think everything points to going lower. Like I said, I've asked ChatGPT, does it agree, does it disagree? You know, it will tell you straight, and it seems to agree. So hopefully we are going lower. It'll give us an opportunity to buy physical and make a few pounds or dollars into the account, so we can put that into play when we go long in the drive upwards. Lulls people into thinking the low is in, then makes one more push lower. Clearing remains weak, longs reset, funding and sentiment. That final leg is often faster, less emotional done on no news. So it just appears out of nowhere and it's fast. You've got to be agile in the markets. It's exactly how silver likes to move, into a washout low. So I think it's going into the 60s. I'm looking to close this trade out at 78. So it says 60s versus 78, separating market path from your trade. Here's the important distinction you're making correctly. Thank you very much, ChatGPT. Market could go to the 60s. Your trade does not need to close around 78. It's a high probability objective inside a major demand reaction zone, likely to trigger short covering, tactical long entries, volatility spikes trying to hold for the 60s. Increases headline and macro risk, exposes you to violent counter trend rallies. Turns a good trade into a hope trade, so your instinct to take the money at 78 is professional, not timid. Clean trade logic summary. Entry at 89.20, which is where I was at the time. As I've put on earlier, dollar costing averaging, I'm now at just over $90. But for this purpose, I asked ChatGPT. So my entry was 89.20. Solid bias, short-term bearish, long-term bullish. Correct structure. Curve plus seasonality plus floor are aligned. Exit plan at 78 is disciplined and rational. If price accelerates below 78 after you're flat, that's fine. You traded the highest confidence segment of the move. Bottom line, you're not talking yourself into a short. You're timing one inside a bigger bullish thesis. If you want next week a map where you need to start scaling out and whatever, you know, which we don't. Well, that's basically double checking with ChatGPT, or, you know, regardless of what ChatGPT said, this trade would have been on today. But it's just sometimes good to double check things, that you've not missed anything. I mean, you always need to plan before you put a trade on where you think it's going. Ask yourself, why are you putting a trade on? Is it just because you think it's going long? Do you think it's going down? You know, what are you thinking? Are you just going to gamble and hope? I wouldn't, but you might be lucky. You might be lucky, and you might make some profit. But doing that over the long term, it's like the flip of a coin. It's not the way to go. If you think you're going to have to gamble, maybe don't trade. Maybe come up with a plan and maybe wait for the market to come down if you want to go long. If you want to short, let it go up maybe, and then see if you're still confident about the market going down, or long, vice versa. Gambling on which way it's going to go is just trading for the sake of it, and it's a recipe for disaster, and it's not something that long term is going to give you a career in this game. It's hard enough as it is. So try and maybe only when you feel confident in your trades and where you think the market's going, that's where you put your money to work. If it goes against you, which it will, you know, it may well do. We could take off now up to 100 and I'll have done, what, £12,000 it will have cost me. But I don't think that's going to happen. You know, you can always flip-flop like I did on the weekend. If it starts moving against you, then something has changed. And don't be married to the short. You know, you can always flip over and go long and ride it up and make a profit. So it's about being agile and accepting sometimes that your expectations and what you think the market is going to do might not be right. You might actually be right. I mean, my thesis of what is going to happen today, I think is perfect. But that doesn't mean the market thinks it's perfect. if there's enough people who think that it's going to short, and everybody, especially retail, if they see them coming in now short, market makers can go long and blow you out of the water because they'll just take the liquidity and take the profit, then they'll bring it back down to where they want it to go. So just because the market goes not the way you think it's going to go, don't think that you're particularly wrong. Your thinking and your logic might be perfect, but the market doesn't always work on perfection. It doesn't always work on technicals. It doesn't always work on trend lines. It doesn't always work on moving averages. They're there as a guide, but don't get married to those either, because the market makers see exactly what you're seeing, and if they see an opportunity to whip you out of that market, they will do so, and they won't feel guilty about it one little bit. So yeah, there's a little bit of buying pressure coming back into it now. We're coming up to, we'll see what happens after 5:30, and then we can make a choice whether to let this trade run, possibly for another £7,000-8,000 profit, or do we take around 5,000, 4,000 profit and see where the market goes. Enjoy the evening just watching the market move around, see if there's another opportunity somewhere. Possibly an opportunity with the pound. I've got a feeling if the interest rates are coming out tomorrow, the pound might move up a little bit, especially if we are going to keep interest rates where they are, which, like I said, it's one of the worst kept secrets that we're going to keep rates on hold, which is obviously we're not going to cut rates, which is good for gilts, you know, it'll help support the pound. But I do think the pound is over its skis a little bit, especially the way the economy is in the UK. We're not exactly roaring. So the fact that, is the pound against the dollar ever going to go over 2-to-1 like we have done in the past? I doubt it. If we are going to get a monetary reset as well, which there's lots of talk about this, if we ever go to digital currencies, the way they would get away with it, we're just seeing that buying pressure waning now as we're coming to the end, the first half hour. The shorts are coming back into the market. If you were ever going to do that, with the major FX pairs, you would need the euro to be on parity with the US dollar. You'd need the yen to be coming down from where it is now, as in strengthening against the dollar, mainly because of all of the US debt that the Bank of Japan holds. They hold a lot of US debt. So and the pound also against the dollar. They would need to start coming in, especially the euro and the dollar, where you're almost at level pegging. You couldn't quite do that with the yen because it's, what is it at the minute, 156. It'd need to come in too much. So you couldn't do it there. But then that's the way, it would be the easiest way to bring in a digital currency. I mean, wouldn't want a digital currency, no way. Far too much power given to the authorities then over your spending. Yeah, there we are. Sellers are coming back in now as we're approaching 5:30. So the trade's back over 5,000 again. Are we going to break through the 50-day moving average? Do we break through the bottom of the Bollinger Band? And do we go to $80 per ounce? And maybe a little bit lower. Like I said earlier on, I was asking ChatGPT what my thesis was like. Did it agree with it? Any flaws in it? 78 was where I was looking to get out ultimately if we came down quick enough. It'd be quite a big move from here, but with the volatility we've seen in gold and silver, much more in silver. It's like, what do they call it? The crazy ant of gold. But it was on low volumes as well this morning compared to what we have had. But there's been quite a bit of selling come in the last 3 hours. And it looks like this 5 till 6 hour as well is going to be over 10,000 contracts traded. So there's quite a bit of volume coming back into the markets. There was some volume on the in gold as well, spot gold over the last 3 hours before this 5 till 6 hour. So volumes are picking up. But that's why I don't trust that wedge that's going up. It was on low volumes. You can see it on the charts. If it had been high volume, maybe it would have broken out of that wedge and broken through the down channel, and you're starting that ride back up. But like I said, the reasons I don't think that's happening is China. I don't want to repeat myself, but it's just for my own thinking as well. It's because China's going offline, and February is not a good month for silver. So why would it break out of that down channel? Maybe there's a stop that they want to target, and it would do it briefly before it drops back into the channel. But I don't see that. I don't think they want silver to get above 90 consistently, and then they're looking at bringing it down through more margin increases, at the CME. I think they'd rather do it more organically, because then it doesn't hurt the shorts as much as well. You've got to remember the margin increases go on the shorts as well as the longs. But also, like I've said, the people who are going to be shorting this market in any size, JP Morgan, margin increases don't really affect them. They've got the firepower. They've got the firepower to load their accounts up. They don't need to be closing positions down. You can often trade against the customers as well, which is, you could argue, is it ethical? I don't think ethics really comes into it, does it? It's a case of buyer beware. It's a jungle. And as the song says, there ain't no love in the jungle. Hopefully, nobody's been really leaving comments letting me know how your week has gone trading wise. If you can leave a comment, let me know what you're doing. It'd be really interesting, really helpful as well to other people. It is interesting reading what everybody else is doing. Hopefully, everybody's having a good week. I mean, there's plenty of volatility. If you can get on the right side of the move, there's decent money to be made. Obviously, if you get on the wrong side, you can also be down on trades as well. But to be honest, I was expecting, once we got down into the 70s, after Sunday night, I was expecting this week to be far more volatile than it is. And what I mean in that sense, I don't mean volatile price-wise. We're going from, what were we at one point, $78. We've gone up to, what were we at, 92, something like that. That's a big move for silver, historically. Not recently, but historically, and it's only in a few days. But I'm talking about where it'll jump $3 and $4, $5 in 1 hour. We've not had that. You look at the size of the candles, and they've been pretty well behaved, which does make it easier to trade. But I'm at the stage where I'm still not trusting putting tight stops in place, because they will throw in the odd curveball where there's a jump, either up or down, and it'll just catch people out who's got tight stops in place. So like I've said before, the advice of keep tight stops, not for me. Lengthen my stops and decrease the number of units in the trade. I mean, this today, what are we at? 11.5 units. Ideally, that would be around 20, 25 units, maybe up to 40, 50, 60 once we get going. But at the minute, I just don't trust the candles not to do something silly. Deliberate, but silly. 532 coming up to 533 now. Volume isn't really tailing off. We're still going to be, by the time this hour finishes, we'll be over 10k contracts traded on spot gold. We'll be probably over 10k traded on spot silver as well. So there's plenty of volume out there now. On that move up, in that rising wedge, like I said, volumes were quite low, it's not really a good sign. It's not like it's a reversal and there's belief behind the move. it's almost like the shorts are just letting it drift higher until they get the price they want. Then they'll come in and they'll sell down into a rising wedge in a down channel. So hopefully, if you have a look at the markets and you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe you've learned something today. You know, if you know about trading, then apologies. I don't want to teach you how to suck eggs. But there may be people watching this that don't quite know what I'm talking about. On the when you look at the chart, like I said, you'd think, we're going back up now. We're going back up, but ultimately you're not. If there'd have been high volume, there would have been conviction behind the move, and there wasn't. So, yeah, it looks like my thinking was right. Still chopping around at the 50-day moving average. Can't make its mind up. Might close it. It might close the hour above the 50-day moving average. That's on the hourly chart. One thing I did want to point out to you, and this, I found it really interesting, and I don't know if I've already mentioned it in the previous couple of videos that I've done, or if I didn't, but on last Friday, when we had this record-breaking move to the downside, massive 30-odd% record-breaking slam, there was a little bit of method, and there was also let me show you what I was looking at. So on the daily chart, this is, let me show you this. I'll do it on spot. On the daily chart, if you look at, so if you look up here, so that's where silver was. It started on Thursday late in the evening. Silver got up to around $121.43. This is on spot price. So then we had the move down, and it kind of topped out at $117.70. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. You know, it's just taking a pause. But then we got the Friday slam before options expiry, both daily and weekly. And we went from $118.12, give or take. We went all the way down to $73.82. That's where JP Morgan offloaded 600 odd shorts. Don't know if it was for JP Morgan or JP Morgan customers. I've not seen the commitment of traders report yet. So whether it was for their customers or the house account, I don't know. But there's one thing you notice about this chart. The Bollinger Band at the top there, we were right at the top of the Bollinger. Now, when this downward movement came in, this historic downward smash, it didn't even get to the bottom of the Bollinger Band on the daily chart. It would have needed to have got to $71.92, roughly. So, yeah, it's a humongous drop. Absolutely massive. But it only went from the top of the Bollinger to the bottom of the Bollinger on the daily chart. Now, if you look at the hourly chart, we quite often go from almost the bottom of the Bollinger up to the top of the Bollinger, along the Bollinger to the bottom of the Bollinger, almost to the top of the Bollinger to the bottom of the Bollinger. So the fact that silver had such a big move up on the daily chart, the fact that it pulled back down to not even to the bottom of the Bollinger Band, it's not that, when you look at the technical side of it, it's not that big a deal. Right, and now I need to get to where I can close this window, or else I'm going to be stuck on it. There we are, we're back. Just looking at my other chart over there, there's plenty of sellers in the market. They're just not following the downward move. They're just letting the buyers come in around on spot 85.40. But once that 85.40 breaks, now we don't, yeah, there we go. It's just broke now. Now they've come back in again at 85.40. So there's somebody wants to buy there, and the sellers are quite happy. They're quite happy for it to happen. Once that buy-in dries up, or the buyer gets what they want, you could see another drop in silver coming. Which is why, as we're getting close to the another couple of dollars maybe to the bottom of the Bollinger, 84.27. If we break through that, we could go down to 79.87. Wouldn't surprise me at all. We could then start another rising wedge up. We'd still be in that down channel though. Or they could then start the smash down to the 60s. Which would be nice for this trade if we're in it. I think what we might have to do is come out of this trade and then see what happens around options expiry, maybe go back into it. But I think if I can get another couple of £1,000 on this trade before I close it out, I'll be quite happy with that. And then see if we do get a reversal and we start another rising wedge, or if we then continue on with the downwards move, just jump back into the market, start building on the short. Nothing too massive again, but it'd be nice to get to 25, 30 units, so that each dollar that goes down, you're on £2,500, £3,000. If you can get a $10 move, you've got a 35, 40, $40,000, £40,000 day, which is you only need a few of them in a month, and you can be up around 200,000 for the month, which is nice. It's just whether the seller is going to, whether the buyer is going to run out of steam at around 85.40. Well, we've got 19 minutes, 18, coming up to 18 minutes left in the hour. Then it'll be adjustments for options expiry around 6.25. So sellers just retreating a little bit there, see if the buyer will follow them up. And he seems quite happy to do so at the minute, 85.75. Is the buyer going to retreat, or is he going to continue? 85.77. There's not that much more buy-in to come unless somebody else comes into the market. So I think the sellers will let the buyer let him tire himself out or get what he needs to get. Then they'll start driving that price down. Yeah, we're coming back down towards 85.50. 85.55. Profit on the trades at 4,800. Kind of torn now as what to do. I'm looking at the dollar index as well. The pound against the dollar is that initial. It started strengthening, but it's weakening again as we're coming into the final quarter of the hour trading. The dollar index itself looks like it's stalling out around 97.38. It's topped on 3 occasions now on the hour there. The yen against the dollar against the yen, looks steady at around 156.62. It might be a case of just let this trade play out a little bit longer and see if we can make another few $1,000, everything dollars and pounds. If we can make a few more pounds on the trade. The buyer's backing off a little bit now. We're back down to 85.40. Is the buyer going to come back in? A little bit of buy-in at 85.40. Now it's dropped down to 85.35, 85.25. Are the sellers prepared to go down that low? We'll find out. I think if we break 85 before the final 10 minutes of trading, we could well see another dollar at least of downside on this hour's trade, which would then take us up to around 6,000 on this trade. buyers coming back in, but volumes are getting lower. Dollar index is rising slightly as well now again. It's just pulled back as I say that. 97.39 looks like they're quite happy there. I'm curious, I spoke about it earlier. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, saying about Iran being short of dollars. What does that mean? I mean, we know what it means, the short of dollars. But does that mean that America are going to come up with some kind of deal, maybe to buy some Iranian oil? I don't know. It's, what's the saying? Is it butter or bullets? Does America want a war with Iran? I'm not sure. Not sure. Have they got their eyes somewhere else at the moment? They're looking at somewhere else in South America. I don't know. It's hard to gauge, which is what President Trump prides himself on, doesn't he? He flip-flops more than a seal on its last legs. Whether it's part of his art of the deal, I've got to say I've never read his book. That interested, really. Is it, what, Sun Tzu is it? The Art of War and all that sort of stuff. Not for me. Dollar index is at 97.39.5. I think if we go 97.40, 41, coming into the last 14 minutes of trading, we could see selling pressure, which is good for my trade, on spot silver and the May futures contract. Once again, spot is under $85 now. It's bouncing on my trend line. It's bouncing. You can see my cursor there. We are kind of hovering above it. If it punches through, I'm pretty sure we're going to 83.68 on spot, which would then take the May contract to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. And if that breaks, that's where we could see that cascade quickly, especially coming into options expiry. We could see it going to just below $80 into the 70s. I don't think if we do go to $80 or just below it, I won't be waiting on this trade to go to where I thought it might go, which was $78. I would be getting out then, mainly because I've got to hold my hands up. I didn't think we were going to go as high as we did today on the May contract, where we got as high as 92.58, something around that. I thought we might have got as high as sort of 91.50, 91.60 and stopped there, but it did punch through. The more I looked at it though on the hourly chart, the 100-day moving average is still coming down. So that's where it headed, which coincided with the top of the Bollinger Band. Then we started that reversal. So that's where I started, as I showed you earlier on the chart, that's where I started dollar costed averaging in more to build the position. What's that now? Okay, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that later. Yeah, as you can see now, coming into the final 10 minutes, we've got another minute. Once we get into that final 10 minutes, are we going to see more? That buyer has disappeared now. So the sellers are in charge. They're dropping the price down. Probably going to go to $84. So maybe another dollar down from where we are. And then it's where the Bollinger Band holds on the options expiry hour between 6 and 7. Currently the profit on the trade is, let's just highlight that, make it a little bit easier. Profits up to 5,800. Could we get to around 10,000? Possibly, and possibly quite quickly. It could also reverse and we'll start another upward wedge into that downward channel, in which case we'll take profits and see where it goes. I don't want to be short this market going into the weekend. Always, if I'm long going into the weekend, I'm not really bothered. I don't really think about it until Sunday evening. And obviously you've got weekend trading as well on gold and silver, so you can kind of keep an eye on it. But I'm always really anxious and nervous all weekend if I'm short going into that 2-day shutdown. I've always got it in the back of my mind that we're going to wake up on Sunday and start hearing news of there's going to be a revaluation or something like that. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing you can do about it until the market opens. And by then, it's good night Vienna. So that's why I don't like being short into the weekend. May contract is just breaking into the 84s now. 84.90, 84.85. The sellers are going to push down towards the bottom of the Bollinger and maybe break through before this hour ends in another 9 minutes. I'm pretty sure of that. Unless there's a buyer is going to come in. Can't see anything of size at the moment. Saying that, it's just gone back over 85 now, so maybe volume is just tailing off slightly, but we are going to be over 10,000 contracts for the hour on the spot. It's interesting that rising wedge that I keep talking about, volumes were low on it. Also, time of day you would expect them to be low, but if it was a genuine bullish move, you would have seen higher volumes. And they just weren't there. Once the volumes did come in, it started reversing, which says a lot. So I've just been filming now about an hour and 14 minutes. I did put as well on yesterday's video, and I'll do it on today's video, a timestamp of when we closed out the trade. That's if we close out the trade, so that anybody watching, they don't have to listen to me waffling about what's been going on, how the trade worked. If they just want to see, if it was in the pawn industry, it'd be called the money shot, wouldn't it? You can just forward straight to the money shot, you know, as we close out the trade and see how much profit we've made. Unless something bizarre happens, this trade is going to finish in the money now for the day. It's just a question of how big is the profit going to be. Pound against the dollar's weakening as we're coming into the close. It's now down at 136.48. Dollar basket is 97.39 still. It's strengthened against the yen slightly, 156.65. So everything is pretty stable now as we're coming into that important hour between 6 and 7, which is when everybody gets ready to position themselves for options expiry. I think what I'll do is just pause this video for a moment, because there's nothing going to happen until we approach the final 5 minutes. So I'll save us a bit of me talking, you hopefully listening, and we'll be back in a second. We're just coming into the final minute of the hour as we approach 6 o'clock in the UK. Spot silver's hovering around $85. We've just got some more selling coming in now as we approach that final few moments. I've got some shorts out today as well, so have a look out for them. Please give us a thumbs up and comment. Everything helps the channel, spread the word. The more people we can help to make some extra income, the better. Right, I'm going to be nimble here and possibly be closing out as we approach 6,000. We might get another drop. We might get some volatility now. Like I said, as in 8 seconds time, people will be getting ready to position themselves for options expiry. That's daily options expiry. And where are we going to go? So the dollars index is looking to move up. We have had a drop. Some selling has come in straight away. And are we going to punch through my... You can see it down here. Are we going to punch through my trend line to the bottom of the Bollinger? And on the May contract to the bottom of the Bollinger, which gives me another... I think if we get to... We're over 6,000 now. I think it would be wise to maybe close this out now at £6,000 profit and then see where we go after this. So we're at 6,500, possibly another 1,000 coming. If it can hold and go, as soon as we hit the bottom of the Bollinger, I will be closing out. Definitely now. I'm not going to let it, even if it punches through, it could go to 80 or 78, but I'm going to take the profit and see where we are. If we hit 7,000, fantastic. 6,500, 6,600, just touched it. If we can go 6,007, let's go quickly to the 7,000 mark now and then close out. You can see where my, hopefully you can see where my cursor is. Yeah, it's on 6,700 there. Right, 7,000. So we'll close out at, oh, I should have closed there really. Took my eye off the ball there. Come on, Jimmy, sort it out. Don't be giving money back. 6,800. I missed that 7,000. I missed that 7,000 profit then. Let's get back into it. 7,001 and then we can hit it with confidence that we're not going to whip below it. 7,000 and come on, play the game. We can't have this video going forever. 7,100 and then I know when I hit it we'll get matched there and we'll be over the 7,000 for sure instead of just a little delay in coming in under. Just a silly psychological thing really, where you can lose a few £100 by just wanting to go for 7,000 instead of 6,900. What's the difference? Psychological. Right, 7,000. Let's go 7,100. We'll close out. Go on, do it for Jimmy. 6,900. Gonna tease me now, isn't it? 6,900. I might take a chance and see if we get matched over 7,000. Go on, do it. Right, 7,000. It's teasing me. 6,800. 6,900. Go on, go 7,172 so I can do it with confidence. 6,700. The joys of retail trading. 6, 7, 6, 8, 6, 9. Let's do it. Even educated, please do it. Oh, we're coming back down now towards 6.5. Go on, push down to the bottom of the Bollinger. It's touched it. Have another go at it. See if you can punch through. Kind of talking to myself now. If I wasn't on video, I'd be doing this. Talking to myself. Go on. Get the buyers out of the way. If you're watching, well, you won't be watching this because we're not live. But hopefully the buyer who wants to just break through $84. Let's get into the 83s, and then I can close out with a £7,000 profit for the day. Only for the psychological, like I said, the psychological element of 7,000 is better than 6. Although we're going back down towards 6 now. See, this is where I should have took the chance. If it had finished at 6,999, could have had an extra £1,000 now just for that £1. Oh, how the markets mess with your head. Go on, dive down again. Back down towards 80, into the 83s. Don't be nasty. A little bit of buying coming in. Now we've touched the bottom of the Bollinger. Are we going to have another run at it? It's just dropped back into the 5/8s now, so there might be a little bit of buying coming in, but I'm pretty sure the sellers will have another run at it. Go on, take it down to 83. 83.80 would be nice. In fact, we need a little bit more than 83.80, won't we? 83, 83.70, 83.80. Well, there's no one can accuse it of being fake. Trying to save a few pounds to get over that 7,000 mark, and what we drop now? 1,100 quid in a matter of minutes. But that's trading. Ultimately, if you think about this as cash, you would drive yourself mad. If you can think about it as numbers on a screen and give yourself the odd reality check, it is just numbers on a screen at the end of the day. And you've made no profit or loss until you close out your position. You know, I can look at that now and think I've made £5,700, £5,000. You've made nothing yet. Until you hit that close out button, you've made nothing. That dollar basket's just come down a little bit as well, which is hurting me ever so slightly. We're back to 85 now, and we've gone into the green. We'll just do with that nice slam down. We're back to 5,000, 5,500 again. £1,500 down because you wanted that extra £100 to make sure you close out the sevens. Oh, what a donut, Jimmy. What a donut. It's going to go up and touch the 50-day moving average now, sorry. With the buyers coming in. But I think the sellers will see that and maybe take advantage of that. There's not a lot of big buy orders. But it's just the sellers trying to maximise the price they can get at the moment. Hopefully we'll come down. We can get back towards that £7,000. That £7,000 trade. If not, you're going to have to suck it up, Jimmy. You've just lost 1,500 quid that you could have had, which is irritating. Well, it's almost £2,000 now. Oh, Jimmy. Jimmy. Schoolboy error there. Schoolboy error. 4,800. The sellers will come in. Pretty sure of it. Then we may head, after options expiry, we might head back towards VWAP, which is currently around 88.15. So let's see if we can get a nice big sell come in. Drive that price back down again. The pound is definitely not helping the buyers, that's for sure. Oh, sorry, it's helping the buyers. It's not helping anybody who's long. Anybody who's not in the market yet, waiting to get in. It's helping, but anybody who's in and is long, it's not helping them. Yeah, it's weakening again now. That dollar basket is going to start rising. It's back to 97, almost 97.40. I think we might have another run at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. If we do break through that, possibly heading to the low 80s. But I'll be out way before that. What are we on now? Coming up to the 10 minutes. We've got 18 seconds. Who's going to come out on top? Buyers or sellers? Like I said, it's normally done within 5 minutes. This looks like it's going to take at least 10 minutes, possibly 15, which is not unusual coming into options expiry as well. You get a lot of moves that don't quite make sense, but it's just people repositioning. 85.12 on spot. If we could push into the 84s again, which it looks like we could well do, unless somebody's committing to buy in at $85, we should punch back through into the 84s. It's going to be interesting when I do the cash out. How far back do I go? You know, for the timestamp. So anyone who wants to click straight to the money shot, how far back do we go? Do we keep the teaser on from where we were just slightly over 7,000 and keep it from there, or do we go where we actually cash out? You know, where we close the trade. What do we do? We'll have a think. There's some more buying pressure coming in. But to be honest, on this trade, anything over 4,000 for today, I'll be happy with. Obviously, if we can get back to 7,000, that will be even better. And you can beat yourself up thinking, oh, I could have had 7,000. Yeah, you could have also been 12,000 down. So some days you've just got to be thankful for what you've got. I was hoping for maybe, got to be honest, a £15,000-20,000 day when I saw the setup early this morning. However, there was more buying came in and more of a price rise than I actually thought. I thought we would be finishing the day around options expiry, below $80, and it's obviously we're $5 away from that, so I did get that slightly wrong. It might go there eventually, but I was thinking by tea time today, that's where we might be. So it might be tomorrow that we get there. It might be Friday, it might be next Monday. I do think that's where we're going. But it's how long do we want to leave this trade on? There could be a lot of volatility in between. Sellers are coming in now, 12 minutes into this 6 till 7 hour again. They started off strong. Buyers came in. It looks like the buying might be getting a little bit tired now as the shorts take over, do they once more? I think if we break $85, we could be going back down towards $84 again. Which would be nice. The other good thing about these videos is as well, hopefully people will take from it that it can be done. It can be done by retail traders. You know, you don't have to have gone to economic school or anything like that, or you haven't got to have been a banker or worked at JP Morgan, Citigroup or anything, and now you're doing it on your own. It can just be Joe Public. You know, you'll make mistakes, I make mistakes. Did I make a mistake just then, waiting for the 7,100 or 200 because it's whipping around and you want to close out above 7,000 because it sounds better than 6? A 6 handle. Is it a mistake? Time will tell. But ultimately, I know what I was looking for today. That's not going to happen. So my next best option was trying to get over 4,000. I would be happy with. And like I said, if I can get it to 7,000, I'll be happy to get out of the market and relax a little bit this evening. That pound against the dollar is below the Bollinger Band now, and I think it might weaken a little bit more. Another reason I think it might weaken a little bit more is because it might rise a little bit tomorrow. So they'll want to take that rise out of the market before the rate announcement so that when it goes back into the market, realistically, it's not gone anywhere. It's just gone back to where it was. Dollar index is 97.41 now. If it goes to sort of 97.45, 46, we'll see that $85 break into the 84s. I'm convinced about that. Doesn't mean it will. It just means, it just means I think it will. It wouldn't be the first time I've been wrong. But you've got to have an opinion. And that's my opinion. That is my thought. As soon as we break 85, we'll be going to low 84s again. Possibly into the 83s. Possibly, dare I say it, into the 79s. That'd have to be a pretty big move though. I think for that to happen, the CME group, the COMEX, they'd have to come out and say, by the way, we're going to increase margins. That'd be nice if it hit now. Might get some whipsawing around now. We've had our first quarter of an hour of this 6 till 7 hour. That's obviously in the UK. We've got another 15 minutes-ish, 10 minutes till we get options expiry. Just highlight that again. We're just over 5,000 profit, which dropped a couple of grand in that 15 minutes. Are we going to get back down there, or am I going to be taking it at around 4.5? We'll find out, that's for sure. $85.43 on spot. 85, that's interesting. I've only just noticed that. 85.30 on spot now. 85.55 on the May futures. We are close to getting into backwardation on that May contract, which is another bullish sign for silver, especially as we start getting into April. If we get into backwardation now with that May contract, I don't think it'll get out of backwardation before it's due to expire, which would be in April. It's just another bullish sign for silver in the long term. Still think we're going into the 60s before we go higher. But the long-term plan is that silver's going much higher. Ultimately, now the government shutdown as well in the USA. I think that's been given the Spanish elbow now. President Trump signed the presidential order today, is it, or whatever he does, where they've agreed the increase in funding. It wasn't a full shutdown anyway, was it? It was just a partial shutdown, but I think that's gone by the by now, so the extra spending obviously isn't hurting the dollar. We're at 85.02. 85.02. Right, we've just broke 85 now, so we could be coming back down towards that 7,000 profit that I'm hoping for. Just gone back over 85 now. Go on, break the 85 so we go low 84s and then 83s. Make Jimmy a happy bunny. Timing wise, we're just coming to almost at 20 past the hour. So that initial move downwards could be where the trend is going. And there's a buyer just come in who's quite happy to take what's on offer at the moment, but once he's gone, is there anybody else there to take up the mantle of buying? Possibly not. We've gone 84.74 now, so that's a 25% drop. Is there going to be a buyer coming in? Not at the moment. Not at the moment. So we're almost back up to 6,000 profit on this trade from today. 84.64. Do we go back down to the bottom of the Bollinger Band? 30 cents now. We're in contango with spot and the futures, the May futures. Normally around 60 or 70, so it's almost halved today. Which does prove there is still stress in this silver market, which is bullish long term. And this is where, coming into options expiry, do fundamentals, supply and demand, do they come into this price at the minute? Not really. Not really. People are just moving this market around now so they can balance the books with the options. Maybe they're going to hedge their short positions with a call option. So it's nothing to do with supply and demand. 84.67, 84.77, 84.80. So we're coming back up a little bit as buyers come in. But I think next stop on the silver train could be into the $83. That's on spot. I just have that feeling there's more selling. There's more selling pressure. More selling pressure on its way. 1 hour and 37 minutes this video's been going. Hopefully you're not finding it too boring. If you can always forward it on. But sometimes it's just good to have chatting in the background, isn't it? And like I say, for the money shot, for the closeout, we'll just put a timestamp on there so you can go straight to it. If that's what interests you. 84.62. Break into the 84.30s is the next target. And once we break 84.30, we're definitely going into the 83s. Because that Bollinger Band on the May contract, let's see how close we are to it. You can see there we're pretty close. Just highlight that again, double check that I do need to click it. I don't want to be closing out. Told you I've done that before, where I've thought I've needed to click it just on autopilot and I've clicked and closed out. So what I tend to do now is once I think I'm going to be getting ready to close out, I'll move it onto there, but apart from that, I'll leave it slightly below. Tell you, there's a schoolboy rookie error, an idiotic mistake to make. I've probably made it. The thing is, make the mistake, but learn from it. 84.86. Little bit of buying coming in now as we get into what we're on 6:22 time wise. So we're coming into the daily option expiry. I always get mixed up and I see it every day and it confuses me. There's a slight difference between gold and silver and I never remember which one's which. Which one's at 6:25, which one's at 6:30. Crazy. Just something I have a mental block over. You can see spot gold there as well. That's at the bottom of the Bollinger Band and it's on the 50-day moving average. So 49.08 at the moment is spot gold. Two minutes until 25 past where we're going. A little bit of buying coming in now on spot silver. It's just going neutral for the hour, slightly negative, but ever so slightly. Not anything that's going to make a difference at the moment. Let's get ready in case we get a quick move. As soon as we can get towards 7,000, I will be closing this out. 84.99 on spot, 84.91. Come on, hit 50s as we're at. We've got another 60 seconds before we hit 25 past the hour. I just don't want any silly spikes up or anything like that. The good thing is, because this is a video, there's nobody watching me from any market makers who think, you know what, we'll mess him up here. I bet they would do, you know. They'd have the option to do it if they wanted. Just have a quick spike up just to mess you about. And if you ever notice, if you ever notice sometimes, and they will do it deliberately, they will make a chart pattern so it looks like a cock and balls. They call it a head and shoulders, right? But you can tell they're having a giggle. Somebody will make a cock and balls out of the candles. Now I've said it, you'll see it and you'll go, oh yeah. It's definitely cock and balls. Not head and shoulders. You get a technical head and shoulders, yeah. But they literally make it, it's like somebody's drawn it with lines, a perfect cock and balls. They're having a laugh. Right, we're at 25 past now. Little bit of buying coming in on spot. A little bit of buying coming in on gold. Is that enough though to keep it moving upwards now? Not convinced that it will be. That dollar index is still at 97.40. We are getting a little bit of a move up. The seller's going to come and smash this down now. Don't need to smash it down, do they? It sounds sensational, that. They don't need to smash anything down. But I think we might head towards VWAP, you know, once we get this options expiry out of the way on the half hour. We'll see where it goes on the half hour, and then I'll look at closing this out. At least we'll be taking a profit. 85.74, so it's gone up another dollar. But we'll see what happens at 1/2 do the sellers come back in, or do we keep rising up? A little bit of chop around $86 on the May contract. Gold's $4,923. Silver's heading back up towards $86 on the spot. Just a little bit of choppy movement now, and I've been tempted to leave this trade going, you know, because I do think we're going into the 70s, but I do want to close it out. I think I'll leave it till 1/2 and see where we go. We'll see where we go. We're at 4,000 profit now on the day, which, yeah, could have been 7,000. Wasn't meant to be. But I don't want to be heading back towards VWAP. It'd be nice to head towards VWAP, which is at 88 once I've cashed out. You know, close that trade out, and then maybe jump back in if it's going to bounce off it in a short direction. But we've got, what, just under 2 minutes before we're on half the hour. So it's on a little rally at the minute, is silver. We'll see if it continues after the 6:30. We may well come back down and land on that trend line, which is 84.74 at the moment. But like I said, I was expecting 4,500 grand profit from today, which I'm under that at the moment now. Well, it's just gone back over. So we'll see. Maybe we've left 3 grand on the table that we could have had. But it could have carried on going through 7,000 quickly to 7,500, 8,000, and you look like a hero. You hang on just that little bit too long, and you've left profit on the table. Yeah, it's moving up quite nicely now as we come to the half hour. 40 seconds left. We'll see if it holds. I'm not convinced it will. I think as we hit the half hour, we could go back into the red candle, which would be nice for me. Could have hedged it actually, couldn't I? So we take that profit on the short, hedge it long on the spot, and then see where we go from there. But right, we've got 6 seconds to go. Let's see what happens. 2, 1. Where are we going? Are we going back down? It's 6:30. Let's have a see. Now the seller's going to come in and take charge once more. Looks like it. It looks like it. There's also, as well, we're getting I don't know if you can see there, we're getting lower highs. So we've got a high there, a lower high, at the minute a lower high, a slightly lower low as well, which is a slightly, it's only ever so slight, but it is an indicator that there's more selling to come and the sellers are in charge. So we could well be going back up towards 7,000 and the bottom of the Bollinger Band. It's just little breadcrumbs like that. If you're thinking of cashing out, I'm thinking of cashing out, I am. But that is slightly bearish, only ever so slightly. But it just goes to show we could be moving lower. Is there a buyer going to come in at 86? Or have they done for now? Now the options have cleared. 86.01, 86.09, 86.11. So there is some buying at 86. $86.15. Coming back down to 86 now. Is the buyer going to come in, or is the seller going to stop there and they're not selling, not prepared to sell lower than that? Could be either or. Profit on the trade from today is just over 4,000. 86.15, 86.18. Right. We've just broke into the 85s again. Are the buyers going to come in, or are the sellers going to start selling again and be happy to sell in the 85s? I would think so, because they'll be wary of it coming down back into that 83s. So they won't want to be too greedy, I wouldn't have thought. It's not wishful thinking, it's just I've seen it before where once you see that move back up and you get the opportunity to sell, do you want to end up, if you've got a tranche of sell orders that you need to get rid of, are you going to wait until we're back down at 83.68 when you could have been selling, you know, at 85 or higher? Pound against the dollar, it's holding firm at 136.47. Yen's weakening again though against the dollar at 156. 156.76, something like that. Dollar basket 97.4. Just starting to drift downwards again now on the spot. Is it going to level off on my trend line? It could well do, which is 84.64. Which would be nice. Takes us over 5,000. Do you know that's May contract is? It's getting closer and closer to going into backwardation. $85, $84 spot. I need to go for a P as well. The thing is, I don't want to leave the market at the moment in case we get that swift move down now. Back below the trend line. Keep the red candles going. I think that dollar index has just come down ever so slightly again, 97.39. Need it to be hitting 90, be in the 97.40s, and we've got a chance of hitting the bottom of the Bollinger Band again. It's just that little bit of little bit of strength in the pound against the dollar again that's cocking me up at the moment. The other thing to be aware of as well, and I'm not worried about it at the moment, but I will be after the Japanese election, is if the Bank of Japan decides to start defending the yen, the dollar against the yen will weaken, and it can weaken quickly. And that weakens the dollar basket considerably, which is good for commodities, unless you're buying in dollars. But for everybody else, and you can get a quick move up on dollar weakness against the yen. So if you are short, that is something to be aware of. Like I said, I'm not worried about it at the moment, or I'm not overly worried about it at the moment. Once the Japanese election takes place, I'll be more cautious then that the Bank of Japan. Oftentimes, if you I've seen it a few times in the past, and it's normally once the American markets are getting ready to come online, that's when they'll do it. They might do it mid-Asia session once Japan's been open a couple of hours. They'll do it then. But the other thing you notice with Japan as well, if they're due to put out a statement about what they're going to do with interest rates, a la the Fed, you know, we know that the Fed rate decision comes out, 7 o'clock? With Japan, if it's due out at 7 o'clock, you might not get it till 8:30. They don't have that strict, I suppose, because the dollar is the world's reserve currency, you've got to have that. There's the rate decision. The EU do it, don't they? It's out bang on time. Not so with the Bank of Japan. They kind of give a time when it's supposed to be out, but they don't always stick to it. So you can be hanging around for an hour, 2 hours, which is tricky if it's in the middle of the night, because all you want to do is close your eyes and go to sleep. So it's frustrating. But that's Japan, that's the way they do it. Their house, their rules, I guess. We're still at 85.80. Dollar basket, still 97.39. I need it to go into the 97.40s. Bit of selling pressure coming in now on spot silver. It's hanging around like a bad smell around that 50-day moving average on the May contract. There's a little bit more selling to go on spot to get to that 50-day moving average. That's on the hourly chart. Do we finish the day around VWAP? Possibly. Possibly. We could go back up to VWAP, then come down off it in overnight trading, maybe. Maybe we punch through it and go up, which is why I'm reluctant to leave this trade on and not monitor it. So we're 85.66, 85.60. It's coming closer and closer backwardation on this May contract. 85.80, it's 28 cents now, the spread. That's normally around 60 or 70 cents, the spread. Do you know, the issues haven't gone away with silver supply just because the market came down. The fundamentals didn't change. The fact that the May contract now is looking like it's going to be in backwardation. If we have another day like today, by the end of play tomorrow, May will be in backwardation with spot. And that is very telling. Very telling indeed. It's, blimey, I just looked at that then, we went 24 cents spread between May and spot. Sellers are going to be coming in now. 85.14 spot, 85.46 on May. If we break into the 84s, I could see us going back to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. We've still got 20 minutes of this options hour, as I like to call it. between, that's a UK time, of course, between 6 and 7. A little bit of movement. The only thing I haven't got up there at the moment, I haven't got it on my other chart over there either. I'm not sure what the euro's doing against the dollar. 156.75 is the dollar yen. 136.51 is the pound dollar. And that basket has come down now to 97.39. I need it to go into the 97.40s. We're being with a chance then of coming to the bottom of the Bollinger Band. But it is going to stick to, it's going to stick to our 50-day moving average. I think as soon as we get over 5,000, it's going to be time to close this trade out. Yeah, we could have had 7, not meant to be. But I think we could go back towards VWAP, you know. Need to be really careful here. Looking at this, looking at my other charts over there. First option I get to take over 5,000, we will be taking. The pound is just looking like it wants to strengthen a little bit. 97.39 dollar basket. It looks like it's going to be going 97.38 as opposed to 97.40. Little bit of buying coming in now on spot. 85.57. 85.59. If we could go to 85.40, I think that'll be somewhere to close out. That's on spot, by the way. 85. Yeah, we're getting a little bit. We're just getting a little bit of volume coming into it. There's not a lot at the moment, which is kind of helping the longs again. As soon as that volume drops, you kind of lose that downward pressure, and the shorts are allowing it to slide back up again. Yeah, and that dollar index has come to 97.38 now. So unless something changes pretty quickly, we could be heading back towards VWAP, although we've still got a lower high on this hour. 4,400 profit. Yeah, it'd be nice if the sellers came into the markets and the buyers retreated a little bit. Not sure it's going to happen though. We're approaching $86 on spot once more. That's on that dollar basket weakness. Come on, come back down. Tempt the sellers back in. $23.20. Yeah, that spread between May and spot, it's fluctuating between 24 and 30 cents. Like I said, it should be around 60 or 70 cents. So it wouldn't surprise me one little bit if we weren't in backwardation by the end of play on Friday. A little bit of selling coming back into the market now. The other thing is, as we've come into this 6 till 7 hour, is it just a pause and then the selling is going to continue into the close? Maybe. But I don't think I'm going to risk it going back up towards VWAP. I'm over now what profit I was expecting to make. Top end of my expectations today was around 12,000. That's if we were going to hit $78. too much buying early on, even regardless of there being it on low volume, and kind of put that to pay. But at least we are going to be, the lowest I thought we would get to is around 4,000. Well, we're over that at the moment. We could have had a max at the moment of, what was it, 7,000. It would have been nice. But getting out at the bottom of your day's trade, very rare it happens. Very rare. We didn't do it yesterday. We left another £1,500 on the table, I think. Ultimately, it went back past where we closed the trade out, so it was a good move. But if you'd have got out right at the bottom, there's another £1,500 on the table, 2,000. But it's rare. It's rare it happens. Some traders might be able to do it. They won't be able to do it consistently. But it's very rare that I do it. I'm not that accurate with my trades. They'll go in the right direction, but getting out at the very bottom, I always have a plan of where I'm going in, where I think if it goes past that, I'm on the wrong side, so I'll put my stops in. But in respect of limits and getting out, like I said, I was thinking around $78. It doesn't look like that's going to happen now. So we'll go with the next best, which is a $4.5 grand profit. If we can get it to 5, fantastic. Yeah, we could have had 7, but like I say, it's very rare that you get out at the max profit. Anyone who says they do, maybe they do the odd time, but not consistently. Don't believe them. You'll have a nose like Pinocchio. Just back over $86 now as we're coming into the close. I think what I'm going to do, I'll give it till the final, I'll give it 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes, till we change over to 10 minutes to go. See if we get some more selling pressure coming. Then after that, I think I'll be closing out. This video has been going, what, 2 hours and 4 minutes now. If you're stuck with it, well done you. But that's what these videos are about. It's just my thoughts, my thought pattern, speaking out loud, why the trades are in play. And hopefully we'll be doing some live videos as well, so we can get some viewer interaction. You can tell us where I'm going wrong, what you think I should be doing or could be doing better. I'm always open to advice and criticism, or, you know, there's always something you can learn off other people. I'm like a sponge. I'll listen to other people. If I don't agree, I will at least take it on board and look at it. So, because that's how you learn, that's how you get better. And I've always said, am I the best trader in the world? Far from it. Far from it. But I do make profits, and that's what it's all about. Little bit of selling pressure coming in now. We've got 90 seconds just under until we've got the final 10 minutes of trading. Maybe the buying will be done now and the sellers will come in and take over the candle, which would be nice. Maybe we'll get some initial downward pressure as well as the hour turns over. So we've got options of, you know, where we can look at closing this trade out. That dollar basket now, oh, it's just come back in. I just looked up the top left and it had gone into the 97.40s. It's just come back into the 97.39s now. But I'm pretty sure it's neutral on the hour. If we can get into the 97.40s, 97.41s, 42s would be lovely. Because that would bring spot price down, for sure. And what it is, it's the Japanese yen that's weakening slightly against the dollar. The pound's also still at that 136.51 mark, but looks like it could weaken. Gold's weakening slightly now as well, which is also a good sign for this trade. We've got just over 10 seconds until we're in the final 10 minutes of the hour's trading. We're going to have 10 minutes of selling pressure now. We'll find out in 3 seconds. It's a silly job, this, at times, isn't it? Looking at clocks and numbers and put my shoes on the wrong feet someday. Right. Dollar index. Let's do a check-in. 97.39. Yen 156.74. Pound to the dollar 136.51. Spot price is at 85.71. Futures contract silver 85.98. Is there going to be some selling pressure now back down to that trend line that I've got or below the 50-day moving average? We'll find out. We've got 9 minutes. Profit on the trade is rising again slightly. We're up to 4,700, 4,600. Are we going to get back to that magical £7,000 trade? Nothing magical about it. It's just we were trying to get there, weren't we? Oh, I was. And no, I keep thinking, because I'm used to doing live streams mainly. That's why I was thinking, anyone who's following these trades, hopefully you can get down there as well. But they're not live, are they? So there's no one going to be following the trades. And as I've got to say, I'm not FCA approved, so I can't give financial advice. They're just my own thoughts, my own trades. But you can't stop people following you if you do live streams. That's down to them. Don't come moaning to me if it all goes wrong. Ready for my tea as well. I'm getting peckish. 85.52. Dollar index still at 97.39. Please go 97.40. Give us a fighting chance. There we go, 97.40. Spot silver 85.55. It's that dollar index. I need it. 97.41, 42, 43 would be nice. We've got another 8 minutes, 7.5 minutes to go before we switch over to 7 o'clock. That'll go either one of two ways. We'll either start moving back up towards VWAP, or we could get that initial spike down below towards the Bollinger Band again, which would be nice, which is why I'm reluctant to close out at the moment. If we'd have started seeing some buying now, going back towards VWAP, I would have closed it out around 4,200. But I've got a feeling, just looking at the way the market is moving, it's like the waves of the ocean. If you ever stand and watch the waves, you can predict where the next wave's going to begin, and you watch it all the way in. And the markets are the same. You can see the dollar basket, it'll start moving up slightly. The pound will weaken against the dollar. The yen will weaken against the dollar. Gold will move down slightly, and then you'll see that silver will start moving down. And it's all them little breadcrumbs that help you make a choice of, should I close out now, or is there a chance that with everything we've seen, we're going to get some more downward pressure? If you're seeing the dollar index coming down now, the yen strengthening a bit, the pound going up, gold's getting a little bit of buying pressure, you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar, no pun intended, that silver's going to start moving up. But I'm not seeing that at the moment, which is why I'm still talking, waiting to cash this trade in. I'm going to try my best not to trade on Friday. Little bit of buying coming in there now, but we're hopefully going to see a seller come in and take that buying pressure up, push it back down. Dollar index goes 97.39, which is not what I want to see. Right, coming up to the hour now. The next time we go into 85.50, I think I'm going to take the profit on that. And then hopefully we'll see a rise and I'll have made the right choice. If it continues on down, sucks to be me, but it's a decent enough profit for the day. 85.70, 85.72. This is on spot. Just because it's right in front of me, so it's easier. You know that if it's 85.76, you can add roughly 30 cents onto it for the May contract, which is the one that I'm currently trading today. Got 85.79. 85.82. 85.85. Moving away from where I want it to go, really. That's because there's a little bit of weakness in that dollar basket now. 97.38. There's a little bit of, we're in the final 5 minutes now of the hour. You can just see ticks are just starting to creep up a little bit. Silver's gone over $86. We're still at the moment on a lower high for the hour though. So in theory we've still got a downward wedge starting into a downward channel, which is good for the shorts. That's not though, there's a buyer just come in. And hopefully that'll get taken down. I don't want to get any of this hourly candle above the high of the last hourly candle, if that makes sense. We just want to keep them lower highs coming in. Just little tea leaves there for where we could be going in the next hour. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go lower in the next hour, but it's just another one of those breadcrumbs that there's still downward pressure on the price. What have we got? 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 seconds left of trading. I'd like to get to 85.50 if possible before the end of the hour and close this trade out. But we're moving in the other direction at the moment. Just got a snow warning come up on the PC screen. I don't know if that's because it still thinks I'm in Poland though. 86.26. We almost had a full candle then. We've just pulled back. It is still a lower high though, which is still positive. 97.38 on the dollar basket. The yen's weakening. But I need that pound to weaken. And like I say, at the minute, I've not got the euro. I don't know what the euro's doing against the dollar. So that could be also moving that dollar index. 86.21. We've got just less than 2 minutes to go before we turn over on the hour. It has been a nice few hours though for the shorts, bringing that price back down. So we could still have been fiddling around at $90, $92, you know, and your trade's in the red and you're just working longer to make your profit. So I won't be complaining from what's happened at 2 o'clock when the US comes online. Definitely can't make any complaints about that. Spot gold, that's just making a level high for this hour now. So maybe that downward pressure on spot gold has abated somewhat. Spot silver's still not quite got up to its previous hour's high. 86.15. We've got 55 seconds to go. I think we'll leave this unless something miraculous happens now in the final 40 seconds where we drop down into the, well, we just have dropped into the 85s. There's a little bit of selling pressure coming at the end. We'll see what happens as the hour changes over. Maybe we've just took a pause and the selling momentum will continue at 7 o'clock. We shall see. Excuse me, a little bit of selling pressure on silver. Gold's holding up quite nicely. I've not worked the gold-silver ratio out for a few days, actually. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of volatility just coming into the end. We've got 1 second. Where do we go on the switch over? Might have to act pretty quickly here. See where we go. 85.93, 85.96, 85.97, 85.98. are we going to get? I'm not sure I can wait the 5 minutes. If we get a quick downward movement now, I will be cashing this out because we could get some buy-in after 5 minutes. Just see if the sellers now want to complete their order book and get rid of whatever they've got to sell. 85, 96, 95, 94. Nice if it kept going down. 93. Be nice to jump into the 80s, 70s, 91. Get a little bit of downward momentum. Not sure it's going to last though, if I'm completely honest with you. Well, the dollar index has gone up 97.41, so we could be in with a chance now. Could be in with a chance of getting back towards that 7,000 pretty quickly. If the buyers come in and that dollar index keeps rising. $86 or 386 or 6. Dollar index is still at 97.41 though. That should put some downward pressure on silver. The pound is weakening once again. 97.41. Pound's weakening a little bit. There's some buyers coming in at the start of the hour, but whether that's going to last past 5 minutes, I'm not too sure. Off looking at this setup now, it looks like it's going to start moving up silver. However, I've seen this game before. And as long as the dollar index stays 97.40 and above, we could see this buying dry up and then the sellers come in, push it down. But like I said, the first 5 minutes, everybody's kind of finding the feet, resetting for the hour. So this is where now a lot of retail traders, and I've done it myself, you think, yeah, we're going to reverse that downward move now. And you jump in the market. Don't wait for that first 5 minutes. If it's not telling, maybe wait 10 minutes and then see where you can get a gauge of on the hour where that move is going to go. But just give it time to settle down. Just get a quick drink. Been talking for 2 hours and 20. What a live stream. Well, it's not a live stream, is it? What a video. Wonder if I need to edit this down somehow. It's taking too long. We need to get the video out. You can always forward through. Buyers are in charge at the moment. 86.40, 86.42. We've got another 90 seconds before the first 5 minutes is up though. Now the seller's going to come in. Are we going to get a short time frame where we get a nice cup? If you're long, you'll be hoping so. I'm not convinced, but yeah, some selling pressure coming in now. 86.23. Dollar index 97.40 still. Pound against the dollar a little bit weaker. Dollar strengthening against the yen. The setup is perfect at the moment. This is a perfect setup for a little bit of downward pressure. There's a buyer just come in there. Does that get bought up? Does that get bought up and moved down? Possibly. We're getting a little bit of volatility coming back in with moves like that, which is what we want. A little bit of volume. Because on volume, we will move down. If the volume's going to drop, we'll start drifting higher again. As the shorts just let that price move back up nice and slowly, and then they'll suck up all that buying, all the buys at as high a price as possible. Starting to see, right, there's your 5 minutes. So it looked like silver was going to move up on the hour at the start, but like I said, give it 5 minutes. Now the sellers are coming in. Now we're at 85.76, 85.79. That dollar basket has moved up now to 97.43. Silver will come under pressure, as will gold. So we could start seeing that push down now towards 84. Then if we break 84, break my trend line. Can we break into the 83s? We'll find out. We don't have to wait too long. We're just stuck at the minute at the 50-day moving average. The dollar's weakening against the yen a little bit, so it's come back in now to 97.41. That movement down's just abated a little bit. So you're kind of getting that battle now of, at the minute, it's the battle for $86. Any strength against the yen now for the dollar, and we'll see a downward move in silver. 156.76 dollar yen. 97.40. If it goes back to 97.4123, we'll definitely be coming back down towards 85. It's just the dollar index is weakening again slightly. Still can't make its mind up, can it? You know, we've had that upward pressure which we're getting now, buying pressure, but sellers are coming in, taking it back down to 50-day moving average. Dollar index has weakened back to 97.39. So we might have to wait until 10 minutes to see which way this goes. On the positive side, we're at that stage now where we are going to be closing out this trade in with a profit. It's just a matter of how much profit, which is a nice problem to have. It's a nice problem to have. When you get them trades and you think, do I close it? When you know you're closing out for a loss, and it's like, how long do I leave it? How long do I leave it? And it happens. But yeah, at least we're going to be closing out in profit. 86.17. Dollar basket moved back at 97.41. Pounds weakening. Dollar strengthening against the yen. 86.20 on spot silver. I'm expecting that to come back under into the 85s any second now. It's at 86.34. It's strengthening. A buyer's going to come in. Oh, 86.40. It's primed for the sellers coming in. It's not happening at the moment. That's the markets for you. They don't always make sense. Everything's primed for that silver move coming down. We're now at 3,700 profit on the trade. 86.50. 86.54, 86.58. $86.62, so it's moving against me now, which is not good, but we've still got another 60 seconds before that 10 minutes now. This is where the setup for a rise is not really there, so we need to give it that 10 minutes and see if we're going to get some selling pressure coming back in. Dollar's rising against the yen. It's weakening against the dollar. Dollar basket's rising ever so slightly. Now we're going to come back down. Exciting, isn't it? $86.50. Drop back to 86.30. 16. Then everybody who's long, thinking, oh, no, keep going back the other way. Been there and done it. I'm doing it now. I'm thinking, come down. And somebody's probably sat at home on the PC or whatever on the phone thinking, no, go back the other way. Please, Lord, I promise I'll be good. I don't think it works like that. I'll try anything. Please, Lord, I promise I'll be good. 86.63. He's not listening to me. He doesn't believe me. He doesn't believe me. Are we going to head towards VWAP? Possibly. Possibly. I think as soon as we get to that $4,000 mark, if we get to that $4,000, I'm going to have to make a decision soon of whether I take a profit in 3,600 or do I see if it'll come back down slightly in 400, but then is it going to keep going? And I could be at 4,000, and does it keep going? And I could be at 5,000. All these things go through your mind when you're trading. That's why if you've never done it before, use the dummy account and you can get a feel of what it's like. Not quite the same as when you've got actual pounds, dollars, whatever your currency is, when you've got skin in the game. But it gives you a good indication of what it's like. Just starting to move against me now. 3,400. Is it going to keep going towards VWAP? Possibly. Do we close it out and suck it up? Could have had double the profit. If only I'd have closed out when it was at 7,000. You idiot, Jimmy. If you trade any length of time, you'll beat yourself up so much that in the end you realise it's not worth it. You got to ask yourself why you've done what you've done. Sometimes, yeah, I've been a little bit foolish. Won't be the first time, won't be the last time. Are we going to come down? I'm just thinking that there's a little, if you look there, there's a red candle, and we seem to be, we've paused out there a couple of times at 86.66. Sorry, not 86.66, 86. Just below 80. Where that green candle is now, we've sort of come down to it, gone back towards it, and is that going to be a bit of a ceiling and we'll come back down and we'll chop sideways? Or do we break through and do we go towards VWAP? So very soon we're going to have a decision to make. If it looks like we're going to break through 87, do we close out? Do we wait to see if it now comes back down? Got another just over 2 minutes till we're quarter on the hour, so maybe there's 15 minutes of buying coming. Now we'll get some selling after that 15 minutes. Sometimes where it's like that, sometimes it doesn't. So you've got to make a plan, be as nimble as you can and stick to it. And then if it goes back in your favour and you've left money on the table, well, suck it up. You did it for the right reasons. Don't beat yourself up. It's a difficult enough job as it is. Coming down ever so slightly. Be nice to get back to 86.50. Just give us a little bit of breathing space. I think it's gonna make me work for every single penny. As it should. But anyone who thinks you just sit at home, put a trade on, take the profits, walk away, isn't it easy? Oh no, that's not how it works. It's not good for your blood pressure at times. I mean, today's not too bad. $86.85. 97.40, that dollar index. I'm surprised that it's gone as high as it has, if I'm honest, in this 7 till 8 hour. Thought we might have been pushing down towards my trend line, but it looks like we're going to see if we can break back through 87. Let's have a look. How are we going to go through it? Make a decision, Jimmy. What you're going to do? You're at 3,200 profit. I almost pulled the trigger there. Should I have done? Time will tell. But I'm just telling you what thoughts are going through my head now. So anyone who is watching this and you're thinking about trading, or anyone who is a trader, maybe you think, yeah, I think that too, or maybe you think, oh, I don't think like that. What you're talking about, all you can talk about is what thoughts you're having. Put them down on video. Let someone out. Right, we broke through 87. All right, back to 95. Is 97, 80, sorry, 87, is it going to hold? Or are we going to be, I think the next time we go below 80, 87, I'm going to pull the trigger and close this trade out. I am definitely going to do it. Hold my feet to the fire. Send me a strongly worded message or leave a comment if I don't do what I've said I'm going to do. Right, as soon as we hit 95, we're out. 80, 87, 86, 95 or better, and we're out. 86, 99, 86, 96, 86, 97, 86, 96, 93. Right, we've closed out. I've done it. I've stuck to my word. It'll go a little bit lower now, and I'll be thinking, oh, Jimmy, no, why have you done that? But that is still 3,277 profit on that trade. And now, if I'd have left it in a little bit longer, see, it's going back down now. It's almost like the markets know. They know the markets. It's picking on me. It's obviously not, but it feels like that sometimes, I've got to say. So we started trading that this morning at, I did put that, let's put it up so you can see it. Where's the image? There. So them's the trades that I've put on today. You can see what time I started. I can't see that from here, so I'm going to have to lean over. Apologies. 6:36 this morning, I put my first trade on. See, if I'd have stayed in, I could have had a few more £100 now. That's the markets for you. Ridiculing me. It's personal. Yeah, started putting these trades on this morning around 6:30. And as the day has gone on, we've kind of dollar cost averaged in. First trade went on at $88. Then I put some on at 92.33 and so on. So by the time we dollar cost averaged in, we were at 90. Our opening short, our average short position was $90.10. So as the market's coming back down now, left £500 on the table. But you don't know that. It could have carried on going into the, the 87s, 87.40, 87.50. We closed out, I can't remember what the profit was we made now. I wanted to make 4,500 minimum today. Not quite made that. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But there you can see. So we made £3,277. Probably 1,300 quid less than I wanted. But a profit is a profit is a profit, as they say. And we may jump in later on tonight as well, but I don't think so. I'm going to spend the evening with my wife, Frankie James, and watch some TV with her in front of the fire. I've not had my tea yet. And then we'll see what happens overnight. I'm getting a little bit tired, I've got to say. It's been a long week because I didn't get a lot overnight. I've not had a lot of sleep because obviously trying to monitor what's going on in Asia. So I might try and get a decent night's sleep tonight. I don't want to be in the markets on Friday if I can help it, as I said earlier. The reasons that I said, I don't want to be going short into the weekend. But today has been another good day. So yeah, as you can see, if you look at the times of the trades, you can see the size of trades still only small, 11.5 units, nowhere near the 25, 40 units that I would like. But with this level of volatility, just bring it down a little bit. There'll be time where you can get into 60, 70, 80, 100 units so that, every dollar movement is like £10,000 in your favour, hopefully. And then you can get some back to big gains. At the minute, just keep chipping away. We had a 20,000 on Monday. I forgot what day we're on now, Wednesday. Yesterday we did, a couple of grand. Today we've done $3,000. So, it's going to be a decent week. It's not going to be the 60, 70 grand weeks that are nice, but you can't do that every week. And there'll be weeks where you make a loss as well. So don't think that every week is a profitable week, because I can tell you now it isn't. I've had some weeks where I'll be 25, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds down. So the next week you look and you think, yeah, I've made 50,000 this week. you've only got back to where you were the week previous. So that's the way it works. So you'll see people who do videos will put trades on. Yep, made £50,000 this week, aren't I great? But they won't show you the previous week where they lost 60 or 70,000. I'll just be realistic with you. If we lose, we will close. Whenever I close my trades out, I will put them on here, whether they are win, lose, or draw. You know, because there will be, at the minute we're on 3 winning days. We could be on 4 or 5, 10. But eventually you'll have a down day, and you've got to put that out there. You know, let's be realistic. That's what it's about. It's not about showing off. It's not about being boastful. It's about showing the realities of trading. And if you read the descriptions of these videos, I put all my thoughts in there. Trading, it can be lonely. It can be a lonely job. And unless you actually trade, I don't think people really understand what it's like. But yeah, all my thoughts are in there. And that's what these videos are about. So, and hopefully it gives somebody else the encouragement to trade and make some cash, even if it's just as a sideline. But I mean, look, the market's moving down now. What a plonker I looked. I cashed it out in the 86.90s. If I'd have left it in, I would have been making what, another £500-600. You look a fool now, Jimmy. But you don't know, that move could have carried going on towards VWAP. So I'm quite happy with that anyway. Keep ticking along nicely. Right, all I am going to say is please hit that subscribe button, ping that notifications bell. If you can give us a thumbs up, that'd be superb. I did think this would have cashed out earlier, so I didn't expect it to be going for, blimey, over 2.5 hours. So if you've stayed with it so long, well done you. I thank you. I do appreciate it. We will be doing live streams as well soon as I get time to do them. And we can trade live. You can follow us. You can do whatever you want. It's your choice. It's your choice. I don't give advice, not FCA approved to do so. All I do is put my thoughts and my trades down and out for public viewing. I've got 3 shorts out today, so if you can have a look at them, give them a thumbs up, and please leave me a comment. And I'd like to read them. Let me know what you're doing trading wise. Have you had a good day? Have you had a bad day? Are you as frustrated as I am now that the market's coming down after I've cashed out my trades? But no, all that's left for me to say is I'm Jimmy James. You've been watching Commodity Confidential. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe. Spread the love. We go again later.